Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Metastellar YouTube channel. My name is Maria KOROLOV, and I'm the editor at Metastellar. With me today is AMIRA LOUTFI, our reviews editor. Hi, AMIRA, or hi, AMIRA, depending on wherever you might be. Every Friday, AMIRA and I read the top 10 free science fiction and fantasy books on Amazon, or at least we try to. We don't always get all the way through them. In fact, we rarely get more than a chapter or two in, but sometimes we really like the books and we just keep reading. So today on our list, we've got a lot of witches. We've got Martian mining colony, and more witches, and we got some dragons, and then some more witches. The link to the article is in the description below. For those who don't know, Metastellar is an online magazine of speculative fiction. All the content is always free for our readers. We publish original fiction, reprints, excerpts, essays, and lots of book reviews. We're able to do this and keep all content completely free thanks to our Patreon supporters. And this month, and it ends in 2 days, we are accepting our the original fiction for our fall submission cycle. If you have a short story of up to 1,000 words, this is flash fiction of up to 1,000 words, you can submit it. And I'm going to put the link in the description box below for that as well. And keep in mind, we've already had something like 400 submissions this year, which is a record high. So competition is tough. Get in there. All right, so let's get into it. So today we had a lot of fun books. I enjoyed it, and I think there's like 3 that I'm going to continue reading. What about you, AMIRA? What did you think of today's selection?
I thought they were great. I mean, there were 3 of them that I actually really liked, and 2 that I'm going to come back to for sure.
All right, so let's go on to the first book on the list. It's Bodysuit. It's by Suzanne Hagelin, and it's kind of a hard sci-fi-ish book, part of the Silverian trilogy. This one is free. There's 2 sequels on Amazon, and they cost $3.99 and $7.99. They're not in Kindle Unlimited. The premise of the book is that the woman protagonist, Sil, got into some trouble and needs money and takes an indentured job on the Martian mining colonies. And before she goes there, she spends the last money she's got and does some clever negotiating to get a really cool shape-changing suit. And the suit salesperson gets a crush on her, and they like conspire to create some kind of an insider trading scheme and do some like videos and promos for the suit while she's on, on this indentured service assignment. It's like a little weird. The writing is a little uneven, but it's actually fun, and I'm getting into it. It's a certainly different take on things. It's not so much a hard sci-fi book as I thought it was. It's not about the technology. It's not about the science of colonizing Mars or anything like that. It's about this woman's personal problems with money, basically. And maybe a little bit of romantic kind of connection with the sales guy. So this is, I don't know, I'm enjoying it. It's certainly a different take on the subject matter. But you know what? It's free and it's fun. So why not? And that takes us to the second book, which you read. And that book is called Nightfall by L.H. Coswayr. What'd you think of this?
I liked it. I thought it was really good, especially if you are a fan of Twilight. It's the first of 4 books. The others cost money. They're not on Kindle Unlimited. So basically, okay, so I think so far from what I've read, it seems to have like two plot threads. One is personal, right? Like the main character seems to have depression. She's been like withdrawing from friends. She has kind of an attitude. She kind of like she's kind of snarky, but I feel like it's a little bit kind of like in an antisocial kind of way. And so I do find that to be kind of interesting to see her like, you know, um, going out, right? Like finally start to go out. And then at the same time, she's bumping into this mysterious, paranormal, handsome man, right? And he has these two weird, weird but very handsome buddies, right? And one of them is a woman. Um, and so one of the things I really liked about this book is that it was able to make me feel sorry for the protagonist. And she also is a nice person, even though she's withdrawing, right? Um, and yeah, another thing I liked is that she works the night shift at a um at a at a gas station. I think it's like a gas station or a food mart or something. And that is where she first meets these, paranormal weirdos. And they tell her that she smells really good, and the blonde guy um, uses mind control powers right in front of her, and he tries to do it on her, and it doesn't work. So yeah, there's mind control. There's attractive paranormal people, um, and a girl who just smells really really good. So if you're into Twilight, I feel like this is like better than Twilight though.
Really?
Yeah, or at least it's written better.
All right. And let's see. We also have the next book is also yours. Let me pull that up. And that's this Dragon's Call book by Anne Gimpel.
Mm-hmm. It's the first of a trilogy. It's calling itself urban fantasy, but I don't think it's really an urban fantasy. Um, maybe it is. I only read the beginning, right? Yeah. So right. So from what I read, right, it seems like really grim, dark, dystopian. Definitely a fantasy. The main character, in the first scene, the main character is hiding from a horde of like a ghost army, right? And they are flying up in the sky on top of her and her friend. Okay. And it's just a really cool army. The description of them, they're like, the undead fairies, um, and warriors. That's what I got here. And so the like, where did they come from? Well, her mother apparently they came her mother is a goddess, and the girl decided she didn't want to have anything to do with her goddess mother and her pantheon family. So she decided instead to just live with a bunch of witches, and she became really close to them. And so it's kind of like she kind of blends in with the witches really well. And then the mother opens up this. She breaks the barrier between light and dark. I'm not entirely sure what that means, but what's important to the story is that she let loose basically this ghost army that can track down witches, find them, kill them, and just feed off of their energy.
Mm.
And so almost all the witches are gone in this world.
Uh,
I think it's written very well. I think if you enjoy grim dark stuff, you probably would enjoy this. I feel like the mechanics of like plot and world building are done well. I feel like this author like knows how to do that kind of stuff.
so is it set like in a future or a past fantasy world or in like modern day world?
Hmm. I think I think it's set in the past.
Okay, so it's a fantasy as opposed to urban fantasy.
I think so. Yeah.
So I should probably fix that description in the story.
Yeah. I mean, it might be urban. I could be wrong. It might be urban fantasy.
Do they have cars?
No, they're riding on horses.
Then fantasy. That's
Yeah. There we go.
that's
There's
that's
our
the main
answer.
criteria. What do they what do they drive?
That works.
All right.
All
The
right.
next book is mine. Let me pull that up. And let me pull that up so you can see it. Okay, so here it is. New Witch on the Block. I actually reviewed this book back in July. And it's part of a series that's the 8-book Midlife in Mosswood series. It's about kind of a middle-aged woman who's got a 10-year-old daughter. The woman's been married to an abusive guy for 22 years. So, I mean, I kind of, she's kind of my age range, and, my kids are a little older, but the cover looks cute and fun. But once I got into it, it was a little depressing. She's had a tough life. She's has to find a job in the small town, and she's gets this minimum wage job, and it's and her ex is kind of following her, and it moves really, really slowly. It has kind of a gentle small town pace, but it's not really like cute and funny the way I would have expected from the cover. Like, she has to walk into town and walk to work because she doesn't have a car, and it's kind of like all kind of sad and depressing. So I thought I might come back to this book, but I didn't. And I don't think I'd want to come back to it now because the world is kind of sad and depressing enough. But for some people, having other people's sadness cheers them up. And the book may turn around for the better. I just didn't read far enough into it to find out. But the next book in the series, Witch for Hire, by N.E. Conneely, also has a witch in it, but it's a lot more fun. It's a lot peppier. It's fast paced. She's a kick-ass hero. So it's an urban fantasy because people have cars. But in this world, humans are the minority. The president of the country is a dragon. The protagonist is a witch. She lives at a bed and breakfast with like elves and unicorns and like miscellaneous magical, sundry creatures. She's a freelancer, and she's a freelance witch. She works for local police departments, casting spells, helping them catch, magical, solve magical crimes of various kinds. That part of it is awesome. I love the police procedural aspect. I love the world building. She's like kick-ass. She kind of reminds me like of a magical CSI, which is, everything I want in the book. But there's a sexy elf around who's more like who's over 1,000 years old, a widower. He lost his wife, with sexy long silver hair, and she can't stop thinking about him, even though he annoys her. And every single conversation they have is super cringy and annoying. And he keeps popping back up. So it's like two different books. It's like this annoying paranormal romance where it switches points of view, and it's really cringy, and there's really no reason for them to get together other than that they think each other is attractive and annoying. And I mean, for me, that's not a good basis for a relationship, but it is a common trope. People do like it. But her life at work is awesome. And I'm definitely going to continue reading this book and just skip over all the mushy parts because the rest of the book is great. All right. And the next book you read, and it's The Witching Flower.
Yeah. So I just love this line though that you wrote here on the CSI witch story. You're like, they have a conversation, it's cheesy. I feel like I'm being whipsawed in two different directions. Kick ass, cheesy, kick ass, cheesy.
Yeah.
It's funny.
That's how I felt. It was like, oh my God, this is making me schizophrenic.
Oh no.
But this book cover looks adorable. Let me pull this up again. It's got a really, really cute kitten on it. It's got cupcakes. It's just the most adorable cover I've ever seen of a science fiction or fantasy book.
Yeah, yeah. And actually every chapter has an image of a cupcake.
Oh,
Yeah, it's pretty cute. So this is the cozy mystery, or I mean, is it? I guess it is a mystery. Yeah, no, it is. Belford Cove Mysteries. That I fell in love with. The very first cozy mystery to sweep me away, basically. I didn't, not that I finished reading it or anything, but I just really liked the parts that I actually read.
but hey, you only got the book like a couple of hours ago, so
Yeah,
and you had to read like 6 others.
that's true. That's very true. So yeah, so I mean, like, I really liked it. I also felt sorry for the main character, which is something I like. Um, and what else? There were a lot of things in this book that I liked. I'm just gonna like
Why would you feel sorry for her? She has cupcakes and that adorable kitten.
not in the beginning. Okay, so
so okay. Well, I'm sure the
let me
cupcakes
start
and the
out with
kittens will
the
cheer
bad.
her up.
Oh, for sure, for sure. So yeah, so like this novel is is really cute. Wow, I like it. I like it so much. I'm doing a really bad job of like explaining it. Um, so yeah, so basically like the in the first scene, she's standing outside her apartment. She can hear someone's in there. She calls the police, and then they're taking forever to come. And she goes in herself. She gets a hockey stick. She's gonna, she's planning to like beat up whoever that is in there. And then she finds out it's just a raccoon. But then, yeah, it's just a raccoon, which is cute, I guess. Uh, no, it is. It's cute. And then she also finds a letter, and the letter is from her aunt. Um, and her aunt is basically telling her, just kicking off the whole story, right? That you know, her biological mother died, and you know, and has bequeathed unto her bakery in Washington, right? So if she wants, she could, come over to Washington, meet with the family, and the family, her biological family, didn't know that she existed. They didn't know that, her mother had a daughter. And they seem really nice, or at least the aunt seems really nice. Um, and yeah, and so as she's like, she's feeling like today has just been so crazy. I need to think about this before I can like, make a decision about this invitation and this letter. And then as she's like trying to take a shower, the water is like cold. She ran out of hot water and she's just like, oh God, you know what? I'm leaving. I'm gonna go. And I I like that. I like that she. I guess I like that she's kind of struggling, but it's like cute. It's like it's not sad like the one you were talking about, right? It's like it's struggling in a way that's kind of like charming or like cute, I guess. Yeah, yeah. And
Like
then
Bridget
she,
Jones's Diary, kind of cute.
oh, I haven't seen that.
Oh
Yeah,
my
haven't seen it.
God.
um, oh, but I have been watching. I saw the first couple episodes of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So
What'd you think? What'd you think? Okay,
very
don't tell me.
cute,
Oh, you
very
liked it?
cute. Yeah, yeah, I liked it. I liked it, but I mean, after the first like 5 episodes, I haven't really been feeling like pulled into it, but it's definitely a good show, and I did it when I was watching it. I did enjoy it for sure.
It's an
Um,
epic show. It
I
kind
think
of changed television history forever,
it's-
for good.
oh man. Um,
Just don't
maybe,
think about the guy who wrote some of the episodes. Think about the other writers who worked on the show and all the actors and all the inventiveness stuff that everybody
Mhm.
else on the show put in.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Because, we didn't.
Uh-huh. I mean, I was impressed for sure in some of the episodes. Um, but yeah, so we can come back to the
Oh, yeah,
Greenwood.
yeah. Because that's
Really
not a free
quick.
book.
Yeah, yeah. I had to pay
So
for a
is
few
she in
subscriptions.
Washington, D.C. or Washington State? Oh,
Washington,
Pacific Ocean. So Washington, the state.
yeah, Washington State. Um, so right, so she gets over there as she's driving over there. It just made me feel so happy. Like the drive, the way the author's like describing this drive, it's beautiful. She's got like the ocean on the side. She sees like this adorable row of like you know shops that kind of look like cottages, and one of them is called Queen of Tarts. So like her mother's bakery is called Queen of Tarts. It's so cute. And yeah, it just made me feel so happy. And then her aunt tells her like, oh yeah, you can live like right upstairs, like right up top the on top of the bakery. There's a little apartment. You can go live there. And I'm like, oh my god, this is making me so happy. It kind of reminded me of like Kiki's Delivery Service, how there's like magic and then there's this cute bakery and she's living on top of it. Um, and my favorite part so far, she's she's she meets the family in person, right? She meets her aunt and her cousins in person, and they are telling her, "You're a witch. We do magic. Come on." And she's like, "You're crazy." She just gets up and runs. She just bolts out of there. And I'm like, I feel like that's a little bit extreme, kind of an extreme reaction. Like, come on,
I don't
like
know. She just realized she's related to a bunch of crazy people.
yeah, no, yeah, yeah, that's definitely
Or in some kind of weird cult.
yeah. And she's like, oh man, like she thought things were gonna get better for her, and then instead she finds out that her family is crazy. They all think they're witches and they have magic. Um, and then she sees this adorable kitten, and she's like, oh my god, she just is really drawn to this kitten. She's like doing that whole like piss 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 thing to like I don't know attract the cat's attention. And the cat is like just starts talking to her, and it tells her that its name is what like William Shakespeare, and it's so familiar. It's so cute. And I'm like, this is great. This is like the best way to bring someone into a paranormal, situation where they're like resistant to it. They're like, oh, I don't believe this. And then you're like, oh yeah, here's a cat who can talk. So I really like that. That we it's like we cut through that resistance, you know?
I am going to add that to my reading list too, because it just sounds adorable. And I
Uh-huh.
love everything you've said about
Yeah. And it's written in a way like it's like vicarious pleasure. So I'm like, I don't know, I'm like, this is what Maria's talking about
it.
with her cozy mysteries and these cute stories and yeah.
All right, let me show you guys the book cover of the next book on the list. And it's called Nephilim, The Awakening by Elizabeth Blackthorne. And there's the cover, so guys can take a good look at it. So you read this one as well. What'd you think of it?
I thought it was kind of bad. This is the only one that I actually didn't like and like probably wouldn't recommend to anyone. It has I I'm pretty sure it's gonna have a bunch of like sex scenes in it.
Oh
So if
no.
anyone is like into that, yeah, that might actually be like a draw for some people.
No,
Um,
no,
some
never.
people might be, might be like, oh, well, it sucks in this and this and that kind of way, but it has some, some sexy parts. So, yeah, so that might actually be enough, right?
Yeah, I saw
It
you mentioned a trigger warning for sexual abuse, graphic violence, and graphic male, female scenes, which I don't know if it's a trigger warning or an advertisement.
That's a very good point. It really could work either way, you
Yeah.
know. Which obviously I guess that's what you were saying, but forgive me for overdoing that joke of yours. Um, right. So this is about a girl named Faith. Um, she is independent, right? She's been independent for a few years. And one day her mother goes missing, and then she finds out that her mother is actually um, a witch who has an important job. She works together with a bunch of guardians who protect the earth from demons in hell, basically, and who also are also protecting like heaven. That's basically what I understand here. And the first scene is her having some kind of nightmare, and the nightmare is like going on for a little too long. I wasn't into it too much, like screaming, the pain, I'm not personally into that. And then she, like in the first chapter, she's also talking about her dream, right? Like she's still talking about her dream and thinking about it and stuff. Then also thinking about her past and her parents and stuff. Like, come on. Lots of like, what is it called? Maybe like stream of consciousness type of stuff going on. And it's kind of nice. It's kind of well written. So even though it's like rambly, I don't really feel like anything's happening. But then it's like it's kind of nice rambling. And then she goes to the cathedral and she meets this hot guy, and she's immediately like kind of undressing him, I guess, with her eyes. And then there's another guy who joins the conversation, and it's kind of the same thing. And then they're like, she notices they're holding hands, and then they kind of invite her to like, they kind of suggest that they would like to have a threesome with her, which is really not, I don't know, that didn't really impress me, I guess. um Oh, and another important element to this book is that it incorporates um, like elements from Abrahamic religious traditions. But it kind of, I feel like it kind of just uses those elements for what, like world building or like setting and stuff. It's not really um like it's just clearly like this is not a religious book.
Okay. Well,
Sorry.
not with the graphic
Sorry.
male, female sex.
Yeah. It's not about elevating your soul.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I think I'm up next. Let's see if I can pull up the cover here and show it to you guys. So here's the cover. It's called Hex Marks the Spot by Annie Gonzalez. And it's a cozy mystery. Well, it has kind of a cozy slash paranormal urban fantasy kind of feel. So Claire has just moved back to her hometown in Virginia, as all of these protagonists do. The first thing you do is move back to your small hometown. She's a witch, as of course you are. And her town is called Banshee Creek and is the most haunted town in America. And she's going to buy an old haunted house that used to be in her family, but she herself grew up in an apartment building. So her day job is filming funny videos in haunted houses, and her like real job is getting rid of the ghosts. So she's perfectly fine with the fact that this new house might be possessed by something horrible, but she's a little worried about the fact that the floor sags and it might need some repairs on the basement. which I like. She's snarky, she's kick-ass. I'm really enjoying it. And as she's getting the tour with a real estate agent of the house, all magical stuff starts happening. The real estate agent finds a reason to like get out of there, and she's going to be alone in this house battling this paranormal kind of threatening thing that was really uh, caused significant trouble for her family in the past. Um, and she's got a pet hellhound, and the pet hellhound looks like a chihuahua, and its name is Pookie. I love everything about this book. This is one of the books I'm going to finish reading this weekend. It's adorable. It's a lot of fun. I'd like to see that hellhound on the cover, but that's my only gripe with it.
Mm-hmm.
And the next one's yours.
Yeah, I just went ahead and bought Hex.
The Greenwood Cove by Celia Roman.
Okay, so the cover is so weird compared to what this story is like, or to what it feels like. It looks like an urban fan. You have the cover for Nephilim up.
Oops. All right, let me switch that out. So this is the Greenwood Cove cover. That's the one. It's reversed on the screen, so I can't even see what I'm looking at. But yeah, she does kind of look urban fantasy-ish with those leather pants and the holster on her thigh.
Yeah, and it really does not give me that vibe. It doesn't, like, reading the story, I don't get the vibe of like a young, hot, like, instead it's more of like an old fat, like, I get more the impression of like a really old woman who grew up maybe in like out in the middle of nowhere, I guess, like her, because her the narration has a very strong like hillbilly or rednecky type, like, not accent but like language, I guess. The language is just very hillbilly-ish, which I don't know, please forgive me if I'm like not using the right terms for that, but you know oh right. And so another weird thing about this, so there's things about this that I like and things that I don't like. So the things that I do like would be the character and what her job is. I like how her job is basically to get rid of monsters, and people know her as that. She's a monster hunter. She, you know, the basically she, yeah, so she's a monster hunter, and she's known as a killer in her town. Um, and she, at the same time, has a lot of emotional baggage from high school. So that might seem kind of annoying, or kind of like, like, kind of pathetic, I guess. But the way that it's all coming together is is good because it makes sense. I feel like it makes sense that someone like her, she's had a really difficult life. She had a kid in high school. Her mother killed her father. She's a monster hunter because a monster stole her baby,
Oh,
right? The monster, yeah, stole her baby and killed it. And she went and she killed the monster. Um, and yeah, and so her mother's in prison, and she learned how, basically, she like, yeah, so she had a really difficult like upbringing, and then also she has all this emotional baggage. She's kind of like stunted. So for me, it kind of makes sense that she would have grudges from high school, and that she, because things have been like, so like, she comes from like a rough family. And I feel like, yeah, I feel like it kind of makes sense that like she is the kind of character that she is, basically. Not, yeah. Um, and the thing, right, so that's the part that I do like. The thing that I don't really like is, A, that the language is kind of confusing because within the narration, right? There are a lot of words that I just don't understand, and that I seriously doubt I could find on Google or in the dictionary. I'm like, this is kind of cool. It's kind of cool how she, sounds like this. She sounds like she grew up in like the boonies, maybe, but it's like I don't understand what she's saying. So that's a negative thing, right? And then the other thing I didn't like was that it's kind of lewd. So yeah, and so I kind of feel like um yeah, so it's kind of lewd. So, but I feel like, I'm sure for like a lot of people they wouldn't mind. It might actually be like a plus, right? That there's sexual tension going on, which there is. There's a lot of sexual tension going on between her and this guy. Um, but yeah, I mean, I liked it. I'm not going to come back to it, but I did like it. I might come back to it now that I might come back. It was cool. It's a cool book. I'm sorry.
Oh, and it's the first of 5 books in a series. So if people do like it, there's plenty more where it came from. All right, so let's go on to the last book, A Force of Nature. Let me pull that up so you can see it. There it is, A Force of Nature by Janna Ruth. And it's set kind of in a modern world. There's train stations and high-rise buildings and stuff. It takes place in Berlin. The protagonist, Erika, can talk to spirits, and she's a young homeless person. So she's like trying not to freeze to death. She saves a sylph who's trapped under a bridge. She saves her from drowning. She goes to hide from a storm at a train station when it's attacked by a horde of magical spirits. So in this world, the spirits, these ghostly kind of beings, are really mad at humans for messing it up. And they're going on the offensive. And there's an agency called the Spirit Seekers that's trying to protect humans from these spirits. And she can see and talk to the spirits, and most people can't, including the Spirit Seekers themselves. So the Spirit Seekers show up, in the middle of this battle to protect the humans who are trapped in this train station. And she points out where the spirits are, so the Spirit Seekers can take them down and drive them off. And they're really impressed by this. And they try to recruit her. And she doesn't want to be recruited, but they offer her a shower and some food and a warm bed to sleep. And she's kind of tempted. So this is not a funny book. And it's not, at least at the beginning, it's not very much a kick-ass book. She is very beaten down. She's pretty pessimistic. She's borderline suicidal. She's really depressed. She thinks she's worthless. Everyone's been telling her she's worthless. She's a homeless street kid. Not even the other homeless people want to see her and be around her, because she talks to spirits and they think she's crazy and is bringing spirits down on them. Either way, she's bad to have around. And so it's a little grim, but I like her. The storytelling is awesome. It really pulls you in. And the battles and the world building is really compelling, and I do enjoy that very much. So I'll probably keep reading it. Yeah. I kind of liked it.
How about from last week? Did you continue reading any of those?
Yes. The Will, I was gonna say Will Wheaton, but it's not Will Wheaton. It's the Cradle books. So yeah, I'm still reading them. It's a lot of fun. The progressive fantasy apparently is a genre I like, and the characters are very compelling, and the story's keeping me going. So I now have a lot of stuff on my plate.
Cool, cool.
Yep. What about you? Anything from last week stuck with you?
Yeah, A Very Berry Christmas. I was disappointed in the middle of it though.
This is the cruise ship with a shapeshifter who turns into a bear.
Yeah. I mean, I thought it basically like wasn't what I thought it was gonna be. So yeah, I think that's probably it. Mostly it's because Gunnar is not the main romantic interest. I would have been happy if we were all about Gunnar, the guy.
So it's a fake out.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. I mean, there's another guy that really it's more about a woman who has pledged to give her life to her coven, right? So she's gonna like die early or something.
Right.
And her mate is afraid of being with a woman who dies, basically.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. So that's not what I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah. Oh, so the author's name is Will White, Wight. And the book I'm reading is Unsold, and it's the first of 10 books. Yep. So and the Free Friday story from last week, you can get to it by following the Free Friday tag, and you'll get all our Free Friday stories from several months now. We've been doing this for a long time.
Oh yeah. I feel like I could write my own shifter romance now.
But do you want to?
No, it's kind of. I do. Look for one. I actually have like an outline.
Oh my God.
For like one book and a second one actually.
Oh, that's awesome. And we could review it on this show.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Okay, so that's it for today, everybody. If you like this kind of content, please support our channel by hitting the like or the subscribe button. You can also support us on Patreon. Your support helps pay for original fiction on the Metastellar website, and the link is in the description box below. Thanks everybody for joining us, and thanks AMIRA for doing this with me, so I don't have to read all 10 books all by myself. Thanks.
Yeah, my pleasure.
See you next week.
Right, bye.
Bye-bye.